Says we are live. So I'm going to go with that and we'll wait for this to pop up. I'll turn the volume off for you. But in any case, this is Kurt Van Onen, your host of the Mañana morning check-in. And there we go. Turn that down so there's no echo. And I just want to come at you and say happy Friday. I am so glad that you were able to knock it out of the park this week, get to this moment in time. And if you're on the East Coast, you're like, man, my day's almost done, right? If you're out here on the West Coast with me, you got like half a day to go, right? But we shouldn't be like begging for the weekends. We shouldn't be begging for the week to end. Instead, what I'd like to think about is finishing the race well, right? Just finishing the race well. We just had, here at Mañana no Más, we just had our first ever LinkedIn live event. And so I'm a little late coming to you guys today. Oh, there we go. I'm a little bit late coming to you guys today, but it's been a real busy morning. So we had the scheduled meetings with one of our dealers for our coaching calls to the Power Sport Academy. Then I had a meeting with someone in the automotive industry that is talking to me about doing audits at dealerships and those kinds of things. So another power sports oriented call. And then I jumped onto that LinkedIn Live. And the LinkedIn Live session was a half hour. And what I focused on today was a message about if you're in retail, especially if you're in a service-based industry, how can you make like an awesome first impression? And is there the opportunity to get a second chance at that first impression? And I went through some of the finer points of how that is and how I audit businesses when I go out and do an on-site business consult for one of these types of companies. I think it went pretty well. I did have a couple of people say that they had problems getting into the event, that the link they had for some reason wasn't letting them in. I was able to take care of them through the messaging and obviously to post the replay, but it would have been kind of nicer if I had them in during the live so that we could interact through the chat and ask questions and have feedback and stuff. So I'm looking forward to the LinkedIn environment. I'm looking forward to the LinkedIn platform. Already, I can see there's been, I think, 13 people, and it's been about an hour. There's been 13 people that have already gone back and viewed the replay. And I'm just going to be honest with you guys. On YouTube Live, I'm not seeing that kind of viewership, right? So there's something that's going right. And what I need to do as a LinkedIn user is I need to get better at this process and make sure that the link that I'm sharing or the link that LinkedIn is sharing actually leads to the live broadcast on a scheduled event. So somehow or another, the links seem to have gotten messed up, or it could have been the end user too. But I want to give grace, right? I want to make sure that I cover myself. I want to make sure that I'm fully integrated and understand how the system works before I start pointing at somebody going, well, you screwed up, right? I want to make sure I'm not screwing up. But that's it. I'm super, super stoked about that. Now, for those of you that are veterans, I need to apologize. I really feel like I dropped the ball yesterday. I didn't remember till the end of the call that it was Veterans Day and to say something. And I should have been more proactive. I should have jumped right out with, hey, happy Veterans Day and all that. And I blew it. I'm going to own it, right? Should have been at the forefront of my mind. And instead, I got distracted talking about what's happening or what's going to happen in our little world. And I got to do a better job of thinking of others in that respect. That said, my day here at Mañana no Más is done. I think what I'm going to do is change out of this polo shirt, get a t-shirt on, maybe a pair of shorts, and abduct my son and take him out on some kind of a hike or something like that. He's got a Boy Scout hike coming up in December. It's going to be a multi-day, pretty long distance hike. And I want to make sure that we are prepared for that event. So I think I'm going to get him out and do some of that. Folks, I don't know what you got planned for the weekend, but I sure hope it's a winner. I hope it gives you a chance to recharge, recenter. I say that word a lot. I'm a man of faith. I'm really big in my Christian walk, but I use that term recenter a lot. And it might lead people to think that I'm looking at something else. But for me, it's we expend ourselves in so many directions throughout the course of a week. If you get the opportunity, take a moment, take a deep breath, jump into a journal, that I talk about journaling a lot. Jump into a journal, write some notes, write some introspective thoughts, give yourself a chance to breathe and process what you've been going through this week, good, bad, indifferent. I'm just going to be a little more insightful on this particular call. I have seen a lot of feedback or comments or conversation with people where I am realizing we're not equally yoked. We're not thinking the same thing, right? And it doesn't matter what the subject matter is, but there's been people that have seemed stressed or tentative. Tentative is a good word. They've seen stressed or tentative or indecisive about something, like, what kind of ice cream do you want to get, right? And you're like, what's going on? There's a disconnect here. And then through conversation, through questions, through patience, finding out that there's some underlying cause of stress. And I think that comes from people that don't take the time to do what I'm talking about, to take that moment, take that breath, be reflective. And I say recenter, right? But get things focused, realize where you're at, what you're doing, and take a moment for yourself to just chill and not always be on the edge of something. All right. With that said, folks,